Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guide 365, and today I'm going to review Martin Scorsese's latest film, The Irishman. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter and Instagram at Movie Guide 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I will leave a link for that in the description. Alright, so The Irishman is finally here. I've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. I mean, come on, what's not to love? Martin Scorsese, who is a legend in filmmaking. He has directed some of the most iconic films in American cinema. De Niro, Pacino, Harvey Keitel, just Pesci. Like, I really could just talk about the cast all day long. And just the fact that Joe Pesci came out of his retirement to star in this one, which it honestly, like, The Irishman felt like almost like a swan song performance overall, as far as the genre goes, according to Martin Scorsese. It's really a great callback, and it does have a bit of a modern flair to it, which I'll touch on in a few moments. But overall, like, I was very much anticipating this film. It's one of my top 10 that I was anticipating for 2019. And I really just want to talk about the movie. And, it's going to maybe touch on a few spoilers, so I apologize for that. But I just want to really have like a free-flowing discussion about what I feel about The Irishman. Now, as far as like reviewing it goes, it's kind of like an intimidating factor to like review a Scorsese film because of how iconic he is. And, while I feel that there's really just... I've been seeing like descriptions like masterpiece floating around and just like flawless, and I don't inherently agree with those assessments. I do feel that the movie is incredible. I do enjoy what I see for, I would say, 95% of the movie, but there are just a couple tiny little bit nitpicks. And I think most of this just has to do with like how the technology was used. Let me just touch on that briefly. Minor spoilers, of course, as I said. Now, as far as the film goes, I think overall it's not as iconic as, say, Goodfellas, but I would say also, like, I think it kind of does a little bit better than other certain movies that other directors have done. It's definitely really, just as far as quality goes, it's incredibly well done. It is an amazing film. 3.5 hours is 3.5 hours. It kind of starts to feel that way, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just one of those, you've got to be patient and sit through an incredible story. It's not really dull. There's no dull moments, but there are some slower parts. It's a little bit of a lull here and there. I would say just a couple of my own minor issues. One is the pacing sometimes gets a little back and forth. There's several transitions of time, as it were. There's a lot of time periods that they kind of go back and forth with, and I feel a lot of those weren't handled particularly well. And they use amazing de-aging technology on De Niro and Pesci and several of the other characters, but sometimes, like, from one scene to another, they don't give you that good transition. It's like making it aware, like, there could have been like a little voice cue saying, oh, well, back at this time, or, I remember this particular moment in this part. There's several time periods, and some of them look so close together, you're not really sure what is actually when, and that's a little bit kind of a thing of just the overall storytelling nature. I feel that could have been addressed a little bit better. Another couple things is going back to the de-aging technology. It does look amazing. There's no question about it. They spent, like, that's just good stuff there. I mean, everything, it's crazy how young these characters can look. But then again, that brings in an inherent problem. If you're using the actual actor and then you use this de-aging technology, there was one scene in particular where De Niro takes his daughter to a grocer that apparently, like, she was working with, and he shoved her for some reason. He shows up there and does his De Niro thing, and it's very awkward scene because the man clearly is his current age, looking like he's in his early 40s, but he's just, it's very old man, kind of movements right there. That was just like the one scene that really kind of felt that, like, it just took me out of the movie for a moment because it was a little bit comical kind of a scene. It was just like, the guy's just trying to beat this poor grocer up, and it's clearly like, okay, like, it doesn't look great. It's not a good looking scene. They might have just opted to go in with a stand-in at that point. But also, one of the things I did enjoy about the film is it kind of feels like it's a heavier weighted, more grounded realistic kind of mafia movie, and it definitely has like a more realism that I felt. While I love Goodfellas, and I think it is an amazing film, it felt very just fast. It felt very like everything was happening quick, double time. Even the slower moments felt like a little more quickly paced. This one felt like it was taking its time to breathe. It had a more weighted feel to it. It was a heavier kind of movement to the overall narrative, and I actually really appreciate that. I think it shows where Scorsese is now versus where he was when he first filmed Goodfellas. So I did appreciate that stuff, but once again, like some limits of the actor's age were definitely showing in a few scenes. So other than the transitions and the part I previously noted, I felt this was a brilliant movie. It was really a lot of just, it just looked amazing. It was just a very compelling story. Pacino as Hoffa, of course, was Pacino. I mean, the man is always going to be Pacino. But I felt that even though he does bring things to an 11 with his performances, I enjoyed his portrayal of Jimmy Hoffa. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was just pretty awesome to see it on screen. Joe Pesci, I miss this guy so much. I didn't realize how much until I saw him in the first 5 minutes. It really it was just so cool to see him again, just acting with De Niro. It was so natural. It just looked like the guys were just always kind of together, and just, oh man, I miss the guy. I really miss the guy. I hope we see him again in some form or another. But he did a wonderful job in the role. And then of course we got just other performances, not as frequent as I would have liked. Like Harvey Keitel's in this one, and Anna Paquin did a great job in the back half of the film. She very limited screen time, but she was right on point. And it's just an overall good kind of movie. I would say, while I don't feel it is a masterpiece, it is pretty damn close. It's a really good film. Congrats to Netflix for putting out such a high quality product, believing in Scorsese and his vision, and the actors all did a wonderful job in their respective parts. So I'm going to go ahead and give The Irishman a solid 9. I think it is a fantastic film. 9 out of 10. It's a great movie. If you are a fan in any way, shape, or form, you definitely need to check this one out. So let me know in the comments below if you had a chance to check out The Irishman and what your thoughts were. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.